The encrypted messages were coming in fast. Each one carried instructions, numbers, locations, hundreds of kilograms of cocaine moving across the country, destined for unsuspecting streets and communities. At the center of it all was Helios Nanaj, a man who ran a criminal empire with the precision of a CEO and the ruthlessness of a kingpin. He controlled his operation from behind closed doors, using technology, fear, and loyalty to ensure that no one outside his inner circle could ever touch him. But even the most careful plans leave traces, and the authorities were watching. Welcome to Britain's Dark Files, where we uncover the hidden crimes that shape the underworld of the UK. Tonight's story reveals how one man orchestrated a multi-million-pound cocaine empire, using encrypted technology, loyal lieutenants, and carefully coordinated shipments to stay ahead of the law. If you want to see how hidden criminal networks are exposed, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it so more people can witness these dark stories come to light. Nanaj's rise was methodical. He built his network step by step, enlisting trusted couriers, securing safe houses, and relying on encrypted communication channels to coordinate shipments that span the UK. Luxury cars, cash stacks, and secretive meetings were part of his daily life, but all of it was a facade masking the dangerous underworld he commanded. He believed he was untouchable, confident that technology and secrecy would keep the authorities at bay. But behind every encrypted message and every carefully hidden delivery, there were patterns, weaknesses, and investigators determined to uncover them. And in the coming months, those investigators would bring down the empire that Helios Nanaj thought could never be touched, revealing the shocking scale of one man's criminal reach and the cost of underestimating the law. Helios Nanaj's empire thrived in the shadows, hidden from the casual observer but operating with ruthless precision. Couriers moved cocaine across counties, safe houses held stockpiles, and encrypted messages coordinated every delivery down to the last detail. Every kilogram that entered the UK passed through Nanaj's hands, meticulously tracked and accounted for, and every subordinate understood the rules. Loyalty was mandatory, mistakes were dangerous, and exposure could mean death. To outsiders, his operation was invisible, a ghost in the machinery of everyday life. But to those inside, it was a system that demanded control and instilled fear. Luxury masked secrecy. Behind closed doors, Nanaj directed shipments, tracked finances, and enforced discipline with a chilling efficiency. EncroChat, the encrypted messaging platform, became the lifeblood of his empire, allowing him to coordinate hundreds of kilograms of cocaine while believing no one could trace a single word back to him. His empire was built on trust, intimidation, and the illusion of invulnerability. But even the most secure networks leave traces, and every message, every transaction carried the seeds of discovery. Nanaj's reach extended across Gloucestershire and beyond, and his operation influenced markets and communities in ways that were invisible to the general public. He moved as a phantom, confident that encrypted technology shielded him, but the law was evolving, finding ways to pierce the very networks he trusted. Every shipment, every transaction added to the risk, creating patterns that, when combined, could unravel the carefully constructed facade. Even as Nanaj expanded his influence, investigators began piecing together intelligence, small anomalies, surveillance data, and financial inconsistencies that hinted at a network far larger than any local police officer had imagined. The Kingpin believed he was untouchable, but the cracks in his empire were already forming. The operation that had seemed perfect was about to encounter its first real test, and the tension between a criminal genius and relentless law enforcement was about to explode. Behind the encrypted messages and hidden shipments, the authorities were quietly closing in. For years, Helios Nanaj had operated under the belief that his empire was untouchable, but law enforcement had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Operation Venetic, a multinational police effort, was one of the most sophisticated investigations into organized crime the UK had seen. Using advanced techniques and cutting-edge technology, investigators began to penetrate the shield Nanaj thought was impenetrable. Every message intercepted, every device compromised, revealed more about the scale and structure of his operation. Investigators worked tirelessly, combining intelligence from surveillance, cell site analysis, and financial trails with the decrypted EncroChat messages. It was painstaking work, tracking shipments, identifying couriers, mapping safe houses, but each piece brought the puzzle closer to completion. The team discovered the inner workings of Nanaj's network, how orders were processed, how loyalty was enforced, and how even small mistakes could be deadly. The Kingpin's confidence in technology was his weakness. Every encrypted message, while designed to protect him, left breadcrumbs that investigators would follow with unrelenting precision. The tension escalated as police mapped the flow of cocaine across counties, seeing the empire's reach in real time. Safe houses were identified, shipments intercepted, and connections between Nanaj and his lieutenants confirmed. Every day, the risk for him grew. Each encrypted message that passed through his hands now carried the possibility of exposure. Meanwhile, Nanaj carried on as if nothing were amiss, unaware that investigators were watching every move, every contact, every shipment. Around the midpoint of the operation, a critical breakthrough occurred, signaling the beginning of the empire's unraveling. And as the evidence stacked up, it became clear that no amount of secrecy, encrypted messaging, or intimidation could shield him forever. The authorities were prepared to strike, and the empire that had seemed untouchable was about to face its first real collapse. The stage was set for a confrontation that would expose the full scale of Nanaj's criminal reach. Net finally closed in. Helios Nanaj, the man who had believed himself untouchable, was about to face the full force of the law. Authorities moved with precision, coordinating raids on safe houses and locations linked to the network. Evidence that had been collected for months, the decrypted EncroChat messages, surveillance footage, financial records, and testimonies left no doubt about the scope of his criminal enterprise. Every shipment, every instruction, every coded message traced back to him. The Kingpin's fortress of secrecy was crumbling, and for the first time, he was confronted with the reality that the empire he had built with such care could no longer protect him. The arrest itself was swift and controlled. Nanaj, accustomed to issuing orders and orchestrating operations from behind closed doors, was powerless. The authorities seized not only him, but also luxury vehicles, stacks of cash, and evidence of shipments, exposing the wealth and scale of a criminal network that had silently operated for years. As officers led him away, it became clear that his carefully constructed world of fear and control had finally collapsed. In court, the chilling details emerged. Prosecutors painted a picture of a meticulously organized cocaine empire, stretching across counties, moving hundreds of kilograms of Class A drugs, and manipulating an entire network of couriers and lieutenants. EncroChat messages revealed the inner workings of his operation, exposing both his sophistication and his arrogance. The jury saw the empire laid bare, the scope of the trafficking, the careful concealment, and the callous calculation behind every action. The verdict was decisive. Helios Nanaj was convicted of multiple counts, including conspiracy to supply and import Class A drugs, and sentenced to 24 years in prison, with a minimum of 12 years before release. The empire he had ruled with confidence was dismantled, a stark reminder that no criminal network, no matter how sophisticated, can evade justice forever. The story of his rise and fall served as a powerful lesson. Even the most secretive, high-level criminal operations leave trails, and the law will find them. The fall of Helios Nanaj sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld. With the Kingpin behind bars, the cocaine network he controlled fractured, shipments were disrupted, and local communities felt the ripple effects. Dealers who once answered to him were left scrambling, and the carefully constructed empire that had dominated parts of the UK's drug trade for years was suddenly in chaos. Prices for cocaine rose temporarily, and law enforcement capitalized on the disruption to crack down on smaller operations connected to his network. Nanaj's arrest was more than a victory for the authorities. It was a stark warning to anyone who believed they could operate above the law. Beyond the statistics and headlines, the story revealed deeper lessons about power, secrecy, and the limits of technology in shielding criminal behavior. EncroChat, which had seemed to guarantee anonymity and invulnerability, became the very tool that exposed Nanaj's empire. The investigation showed that no matter how sophisticated a network or how careful a kingpin, patterns emerge, mistakes are made, and the law can exploit even the smallest vulnerabilities. The fall of this multi-million-pound cocaine operation was a testament to the persistence, skill, and coordination of modern policing. For the public, the story serves as both caution and reflection. Crime can thrive in the shadows, hidden behind encrypted messages, luxury, and fear. But justice, though sometimes delayed, can arrive with devastating certainty. Nanaj's empire, built on secrecy and intimidation, was dismantled, leaving a warning echoing across the underworld. No darkness lasts forever. If you followed this story and want more cases exposed, remember to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Britain's Dark Files. Join us as we continue to uncover the hidden crimes, untangle the secrets of organized networks, and reveal the dark truths lurking behind seemingly ordinary lives. The empire may be gone, but the lessons it leaves behind will not be forgotten.